Hi.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
And you're in DC, right?
I work in DC, but I live in Baltimore. So yeah,
Ah, gotcha. So you have to commute in.
generally in non-pandemics, yeah.
Yeah. So are you guys working from home now?
Yeah.
Is
Yep.
your office is closed?
Yep. For the most part, there's a few people still going in the office, but it's very small.
Mm-hmm. What's that transition been like?
Well, it's funny. I was like on vacation right before, and then came back, and then went immediately working from home. So I had like occasionally would work from home once a week, so at least like had a desk and like stuff like that set up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's. I mean, for the most part, it's been at least on our team, it's been fine. We can still do majority of our work from home. It's just more like meetings on Zoom and things like that. Things just take a little bit longer, it seems like, but other than that, it's pretty much the same.
Has the workflow kind of changed because everyone is at home, and has that been challenging for you guys?
It hasn't really changed a lot where, like we still are attending the same meetings we were attending before, and people would still email and Slack us for certain requests and things like that. So it's just like a different, like, normally you would see this person face to face. Now they're using Slack or something like that. So it's like the same questions are still happening. It's just a different method.
Mm-hmm. And is that like difficult not having that in-person like communication to like talk about your work and the things that you guys are working on?
Sometimes I feel like a lot of times I would like, we have like this national desk meeting every day, and I would kind of like wait till after the meeting to like talk to someone individually rather than like address a room full of like 20 people. So that can be a little bit tricky, but it just makes you have to kind of like, you know, reach out to that person and talk to them, in a different way than you normally would. But yeah, it doesn't like give you kind of, some, I would like be in the kitchen heating up my lunch and someone would be like, oh yeah, this thing I meant to tell you about, so we're not having that kind of like organic conversation. But so there may be things that like we don't know that are happening, but for the most part it's pretty similar.
Hmm. Are you guys still giving out assignments to photographers?
We are, but like under, we have to kind of assess the risk. We have security calls about safety and, how to remain distant. So we kind of have to like assess, like, is this story worth it for this kind of protocol? So definitely not as much as we used to, but we are looking into ways that we can, uh, do assigning. I've been doing a little bit more with the picture show, which is like our visual blog. So that's like, a lot of times it's stories that people have already photographed or had already been working on. So they're not necessarily going out and shooting them. So it's still a way to kind of work with photographers, just not in like kind of the same direct manner.
Hmm. And do you still have like people going into the studio to like record like podcasts and stuff? And how is that working?
For the most spots, for the most spot, or sorry, for the most part, most of the podcasts are remote and from home. But some of like the shows, like All Things Considered and Morning Edition, there will be one host in the studio. And they try to have a limited number of, the director and like, normally it'd be like a team of like, 40 people working on one show in the office, and now it's like five or six that are like actually in the office working on the show. But everybody else is remote. So, but yeah, we have to keep 6 feet away, sanitizing everything, stuff like that. So it's trying to only have the like maximum number of people that they absolutely need in the building.
Hmm. How are you advising your photographers that you are sending out to be safe? Are you guys like telling them to do anything differently or anything like that?
Yeah, we have like a set of guidelines that we send that are based on what CDC, the World Health Organization, have provided. So it's, remain 6 feet away, don't get any closer than you need to, things like that. If you're not feeling, and in any situation, I'd say if someone doesn't feel comfortable, don't push yourself, things like that. Usually that's like in context of like, you've been at a march all day and it's super hot and like or something like that. But now it's just like, if you feel like, oh, I might have to squeeze by somebody, like don't push yourself to do that. But yeah, and then just trying to like brainstorm like how can we think about this visually in a different way, because somebody who loves their 24 millimeter lens is really not going to have the same type of images that they would normally get when they could be as close to people as they want. So kind of keeping that in mind too.
Right. And because of that, have you seen the style of photography kind of change from your photographers?
I would say like in general, not so much since we haven't done a ton with like shooting assignments lately. I don't have as much like to kind of go on, but like I know I'm getting getting a lot of pitches, but also seeing a lot of work at different publications with like portraits of people through the window, things like that. So trying to think of like, even on our Instagram account where we have had, either projects or things like that, where it's like, oh, there's another mask photo, like how do we kind of like, stay safe, but also just like not have the same visual repetition. So it's that kind of a balance that we're trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm. And like everyone's kind of adapting to like this new world of online and doing everything online. And have you seen like the style of journalism kind of evolve into this online platform? And do you think it's something that will continue after coronavirus is over, hopefully?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely noticed I work a lot with the national desk, and they have definitely put a push to publish stories online before the radio stories, which was generally not their practice before this. But they've just noticed that there tends to be, more news every day. So then like their kind of feature story may not get published on the radio. So they just want to get it out online first. So I hope that continues. That we're not just waiting for a radio story in order to publish a digital story, since it is two different audiences for the most part. And yeah, I think generally there's been a push to be kind of fast and newsy, both on our, we have kind of like a coronavirus blog, and a lot of other sites do as well. I'm not sure how much of that will continue kind of going forward after the pandemic is kind of risk has subsided, but it's definitely, we were able to kind of establish that style, very quickly, which was something that we hadn't done before. So it does kind of give us this idea of like, we are more nimble than maybe we thought.
And do you think, I'm sorry, how did this affect like Baltimore? Was it like a really quick, like, did you see a really quick, like, change from corona and the impact of it, of people like staying at home and versus how DC reacted?
I mean, to be honest, I haven't been in DC since like February, but I would say like, for the most part, we haven't been, hit nearly as hard as New York. In my neighborhood, I haven't really left my neighborhood. It's been generally it's a pretty residential neighborhood anyway, so it's pretty quiet. It's like we don't live near a hospital, so I'm not hearing sirens all the time. So I think it's, for the most part, people in my neighborhood have definitely been like social distancing, and when you go walks on your neighborhood, like people are generally wearing masks, not all the time, but they're staying 6 feet apart, and they'll walk in the street if someone gets too close on the sidewalk, that kind of stuff. So I think we've been lucky that a lot of people take it seriously, and we're not fighting with people to like stay away from you.
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
but yeah, it's just it's perceived differently in different parts of the country, even places where like I have my parents live in South Carolina, and like they've noticed that a lot of people don't seem to take it seriously, and they're one of the early states that are trying to reopen, and it makes me worried for them.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Do you miss going into the city?
Yeah, I mean, I miss my friends. I have been getting a lot more sleep, which is really nice. Um, but yeah, it's definitely different, and it's a different to kind of like be this kind of far away from like really feeling that physical distance.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me. I appreciate it.
All right, well, good talking to you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.